Hello everybody, welcome back to From Rhythm to Algorithm Part 51, Biologically Neutral. I thought it was a good time, just some topics I want to talk about in biology, but to take a step back in theoretical physics, exercise and nutrition. What do I think about that? What novel analysis or insight can I provide? It's a little bit about my background for exercise. I was a certified personal trainer for a while, but I'm a very competent lifter. I've been strong before, I can do any lift, and I feel pretty knowledgeable. But I've been lifting since 15, I probably haven't missed, besides a couple periods of injury, 2 days a week, ever. So I'll just give you my thoughts on exercise and nutrition and supplementation. But remember, here's our big picture of the cell, about 25% protein, about 25% sugar or carbohydrates, and about 50% fat. And so I'm just going to make a simple conjecture, going on theorem, that most, if not all, action is biologically neutral. And that the most important facet to longevity, living longer, being healthy, living your best life, is digestion. Simply, what quality of food do you put in your body, and what quality of shit do you put out of your body? Right? We talk about, I guess we'll just talk about it in the sections, but I really think the biggest factor of staying alive longer is eating the proper food and shitting properly, literally. So for exercise, because of the 120 heartbeats or whatever not 120 billion, whatever the heartbeat limit is, there should have optimal lifetime exercise plans because of cellular responsivity. What do I mean? Let me just give you an example. I was talking with my dad just a couple days ago, a week ago, about just lifting exercise, and clearly my dad's 62, clearly people 62 year age have less cellular regeneration than people that are younger. How exactly and how effective is cellular degradation over a lifetime, right? You're young, you go through puberty, clearly grow very fast, but I think you deteriorate rather slowly in comparison. Just like the workout plan for what's the goal of exercise and cycles? I have the first and foremost thing you should do if you've never gone to the gym is mobility and coordination. So when I was talking with my dad, he didn't get into lifting until I don't really know, but I think just recently, it was 50s on. But, if I took someone who was 13 and I was training them versus someone who was 50 and training them or 62 and training them, the difference would be, I promote squatting to full depth, right? Your natural knee reflection, you should be able to sit down, lower back completely flat, heels, my toes are off the ground, I'm strong here, I can jump up and dunk a basketball from this position. But my dad didn't get into lifting till later, and has had surgeries on his knees. So for example, I would certainly suggest squatting to full depth for someone getting into exercise. I wouldn't recommend squatting to full depth for someone of knee pain or decreased cartilage in the knee. But for overall, because of the heartbeat limit, and because of cellular inflation and degeneration, there should be an optimal overall exercise plan for a lifetime. Meaning, you develop your mobility and your coordination when you're younger, you work on your strength after mobility and coordination, you have strength, putting more weight on your bench press or your squat or your snatch or your power clean or your full clean, or using a stronger resistance band at your yoga class. Really don't think that given exercise matters. Exercise is clearly good. What exercise you do, don't think it matters. Is again the intervals, getting your heart rate up really high, training your body, your heart to pump, your lungs to breathe, your diaphragm to contract, and then variation and preference, just changing up your exercises. And again, the nutrition book, I actually have it now, Deep Nutrition by Catherine Shanahan. She demonstrates just through read the book, But like you can exercise if you have one high intensity interval of 3 to 5 minutes. You're getting the cellular respiration you need to, again, digest. Digestion's more food, but like respirate would still be digesting air or digesting oxygen or releasing carbon dioxide. So like I said, just for frequency of exercise, like I said, 3 times a week, data driven, but hard intervals. What exercise you do don't really matter. But I do think there should be an optimal, because of the cycles, right? You have a sleep cycle, you have an eating cycle, you have exercise cycle, your heartbeat has rhythms. So there should be some synchronicity to all of that. And maximizing that, regardless of any genetic variation, should produce, again, an overall general workout plan for a lifetime. And then again, like just for the example with my dad versus me, or not even me, just like take someone who's 17 and starting to work out versus someone who's 50 and starting to work out. They're both going to have a genuine cellular response where they're going to gain strength quicker, more rapidly at the beginning. Take both of those people, the 17 to 27, you're going to still slow down some amount. And again, this is true with any lifter. Like I followed Jesse Norris, was very popular. Look these people up. George Lehman. Haven't followed him on Instagram in a while, but there was like Derek something. But it seems to be very common in exercise. The first, again, 5 to 10 years of you lifting, regardless if you start at 50 or 17 or 14, you have an initial strength period, and then you kind of plateau. Where the plateau, you can stay 80 to 90% of your strength, but it's a lot harder to continue to go up from a 500-pound squat to a 15,000-pound squat's not going to happen. So I really think the cycling should have some synchronicity across all of the cycles. And what type of exercises you do don't really matter. You need good high intensity intervals, and that should take care of. Past that, it's really up to you. I like to lift weights, I like to build my physique. Do I think that's going to extend my life? No. Do I think, like I said, I think extended running is bad. Any stagnated, like where you're not having an interval extended running is bad. I want to say bad because I don't know, right? If it's just a clear question. Does this stress harden the arteries? Does this thing cause plaque? Yes or no? Let's keep talking. Make sure I keep rolling. So now for food and nutrition, again, whatever foods provide that sustenance and how well you digest it. I don't think the sources matter really at all. But nutrition and supplementation, just meaning anything that is not food. And how do I eat throughout the day? Again, if I'm not stressed out of my fucking mind for doing math, I'll typically eat a very solid breakfast, 3 eggs, some potatoes, might throw in a little bit of meat sometimes. Then I'll go exercise, typically around 11. Like I said, for the sleep cycle, I really think the best time to work out is, hour and a half, 2 hours after you've slowly waken up and just generally rise with the sun. But, what was I saying? Work out around 11. Again, I've done all types of different workouts. I don't think it's super important. Just go out, and at this point I'm an intuition lifter. I just go in there, whatever I feel comfortable doing. I'm really well understanding of when I'm close to injury, stuff like that. But like I said, the last one, clearly maybe not. I've had a couple lower back injuries, but very good at not exacerbating them. What supplements do I take? I've taken protein shakes in the past. But I come back from the gym and then I cook typically like a Thanksgiving style dinner or just a bigger meal around like post gym, 1 o'clock to 2 o'clock, and then I'll have a lighter snack at night, 8 to 9 o'clock. Don't really count calories, don't care. My goals for lifting now, before, like I said, I really like strength. Now I just want to be in good shape, good health, do a lot of other stuff. But I don't like injury. I would still be trying, I don't know how to manage my own injuries to the point where I'm not getting them. And nothing's more frustrating than you have a plan, I'm going to go squat today, and then I'm going to go do a music piece, and you go squat, fuck up your back, and now you can't play your music. It's like, do I want to do that? No. Do I know why I keep getting injured? No. Am I at my later periods of my cellular responsivity? No. Do I think anatomy has a big impact on who maintains in the gym? Yes. Like, how many people go to the gym and want to get strong and big? A lot of people. How many people become like Olympic lifters? I really think that, right, not to take away anything from anybody, anything requires hard work to be elite, but you know, if you have an extra inch on this vertebrae or your femur, you know, I think you're less prone to injury. So I think the real elites obviously have to put into real work, but the anatomy is set up in a way where they're very injury resistant. So besides whole foods, what do I put into my body, period? HCl, creatine, hydrochloric creatine, just microdosed small creatine, and BCAAs, which are branched chain amino acids. Some of the natural proteins, you don't have an indigenous generation of the amino acids you need for certain proteins. I researched this stuff years ago. Like I said, I used to drink protein shakes, but I don't like drinking liquid food sustenance. Typically, I'm not against protein shakes, just personally the big meal after I come back is now what I do. So those are really the only, I don't do a pre-workout, and I drink the HCl, creatine, and BCAAs intro workout. There is not an anabolic window, that's not a real thing. If you have the right data, there's a study, go look it up, do your homework, but whatever nutrition is in your bloodstream, the exercise is the stimulation, and whether you eat, like you can't, if you were to eat a huge meal right before lifting, that would affect your exercise because of the food in your body. But if the presence of the nutrition is in your bloodstream and you stimulate through exercise, it will get digested. So there's not an anabolic window, absolutely not. And again, not my research, but logically that doesn't make sense either. Then alcohol, we'll talk about alcohol consumption. Defining a binge, current guidelines are inconsistent. The use of poisons in vaccines, and then we'll talk a little bit about vaccines and common questions and concerns. Talk a little bit more about exercise, so now let's talk about the nutrition and supplements. So alcohol consumption. This is big topic, well I don't want to say big topic, but prevalent public concern, or not concern. First of all, what is a binge drinking period? The current guidelines are inconsistent, meaning go type in Google and say what are the health benefits of alcohol, and then go type in what are the negatives of alcohol, and you'll have plenty of articles for both. I'm fairly confident on just, like I said, fermentation, like the four pillars of health. Fermentation is one of them. Why is fermentation good? Simply because heat denatures any cellular structure, protein, carbs, fat. And so when you put a piece of meat on a frying pan, that outer crispy level, when it goes into your body, is not being digested efficiently. So fermentation is just release of nutrients without exposure to heat. And so, you know, let's be clear, beer and wine versus spirits or anything distilled. First of all, binge. What is a binge? 1 or 2 drinks a day is moderate for female, or 1 to 2 men to females, what the CDC says now. You know, more than 5 drinks is considered a binge. That is not scientifically literate. To define a binge, you would have a total microgram, milligram, gram per milliliter of blood. How much alcohol is in the bloodstream? If it ever gets above this amount, that is a binge. Defining this or that drinks is not consistent with alcohol by volume, as is. But a binge would have to be, again, this amount of alcohol in the bloodstream peaks over this amount. Period, end of story. Defining a given number doesn't matter. How much alcohol do I drink? About 7 to 12 beers, pretty daily. Like I've never once woken up and said, I'm going to drink today. 5 o'clock, 6 o'clock rolls around. I'm like, it's pretty bored. What do we do? Alcohols, beers. But like I do think alcohol binges are bad just in the short term. Like if you look at the negatives of alcohol consumption, they'll say like risky sexual behavior, you know, stressing the liver. And then the next paragraph will say, well, fatty liver is completely reversible and not that damaging. And then you'll have alcoholics who drink, again, what is an alcoholic to me versus, like, so that's what a binge is. Do I think like I said, I don't know what the quantity was. I don't think in my life I could probably say I've never binge drink, meaning like gotten a very severe hangover, thrown up violently. That might be a quantity of beer probably, but not like my body needs to expel alcohol. So nothing close like that on a personal level. But I think a binge would be quantified by the severity of the hangover. And on a personal level, the 7 to 12 for me is, how do I drink personally? Like I said, never had a motivation like, let's go have alcohol. And then in the morning, if I'm hungover at all, can't tolerate it. Can't fucking tolerate it at all. Need to be able to wake up, have a clear head. Again, can't really fucking eat or sleep consistently because of this other stress. But if I'm hungover literally whatsoever, that's the definition of a binge to me on a personal level. And right, then you'll have, in addition to just what quantity is good or bad, if you just look up, what is the I think like 10 million Americans drink the 7 to 12. I think it was 10 was the average. But even with this, I don't think I take probably 10 to 100 milligrams of THC with the alcohol as a digestion aid. Because right, fermentation good, processing alcohol, the stress of the molecule is what would cause damage. But in general, like I like the THC, but you can take B vitamins while you're drinking and you won't get hungover because it's increasing the efficiency of the digestion. And then people will say, well, alcohol is a poison. Well, correct. But we all just got vaccines. We all just stuffed a weakened virus willfully into our arms. I got my second dose, I think a week ago. The next day I could definitively feel sickness. Why did I willfully inject a vaccine, a poisonous antigen, pathogen into my body? To train your immune system. And stagnation is always bad. Whether it's exercise, sitting on your ass, whether it's not exposing your immune system to poisons or to toxins. Right? That's why people get allergies if they're not exposed as children. So to me, alcohol why do people like to drink it? Truly for the fermentation and obviously for the intoxication, but it trains your immune system for sure, intuitively 100%, because is it poison? Yes, but it's a very not toxic poison. What are other poisons that we put into our body besides vaccines? Well, every time you fucking put food into your body and it becomes shit is toxic 100%. And so if you can't clear that out of your body, which I'm sure fermentation does, and again, all the other things, again, this is not fermentation, not alcohol, but the point is to get that toxic shit out of your body. And so you need to look at the overall cycling and the inconsistent guidelines, again, like butter, right? I don't know, they used to say, I can't believe it's not butter's better. Then they say butter's not bad because of the fat. And then again, we're talking about digestion. Putting a fat molecule into your body doesn't digest into fat all the time. Protein gets stored as fat. Sugar gets stored as fat. So you need to talk about digestion. Anything else for alcohol? Let me make sure I'm still rolling. That might be about the end of this episode. But again, let's just talk about, forget alcohol, but just like in the avenues of addiction in general. When we talk about in investing, the 15% mindset of immature investors. Like how many people like my age or younger, or a little bit younger, would go gamble? Like, can you get addicted to alcohol? Can you get addicted to gambling? Yes. And so, to me, like I don't think I could honestly be addicted to literally anything just because of my discipline level. But if you, the psychology of, people say this is self-rationalizing my behavior. Again, I'm the most sensory reactive person ever. Again, I'm not lying about my motivations. And I think that the real negative is you put anxiety on people. You put, confusion. And again, science is consistent. This amount of whatever substance would cause this amount of disease. And when you have butter and alcohol both being, whatever, right? Alcohol, there's no stigma for butter as opposed to alcohol, like alcohol being a fun substance. So like when in society did, feeling good, having fun, right? It's kind of like, think of like the shitty alcohol jokes people make. oh, I like my whiskey on the rocks, you know, like I'm a tough guy, I'm a hard guy. Like I said, I'm against binge drinking. I don't think I've ever really binge drink. But in general, what I see is like the 1 or 2 for drinks for men to women versus like the less than 5 being binge. I really just see that as like the state of your cellular responsivity. Like in college, I couldn't handle 3 or 4 drinks because I was dirty bulking. I was just eating whatever fucking food I could get my hands on. And my body, at that point, no toleration for alcohol at all. And now, like I said, I still don't have, like I would never, I don't think I've ever gone above like the 12, and again, I don't even count. It's not like sitting there counting my beers. I just sit there, have some until I feel good. That's about it. But for addiction behavior in general, if you show addictive behavior at one avenue, alcohol or gambling or whatever, you're going to show addictive behavior in other areas. And so like you see, like I said, people will go through college and they'll drink ridiculously, and then they'll go to, you know, I won't have a drink, but they haven't fixed their underlying addictive behavior whatsoever. And so, like I said, that's why I say like the Alcoholics Anonymous is bad. You're teaching people that they can't change. And like I said, I think if you can't control your behavior, I absolutely think it's a good thing, right? You shouldn't go get into a car and drive. You shouldn't go beat your wife. You shouldn't have reckless sexual interactions. But to teach that that's bad biology, I think is incorrect, demonstrably. Anything more to say about the addictive behavior in general? Again, immaturity of the sentiment of the species, just like we talk about in our trading series. But again, like I said, shit in your body, literally not pooping correctly, is toxic, 100%. So forget alcohol, forget food, digestion. How do we replace protein, sugar, and fat, and how do we do that efficiently and healthy? And last thoughts, just vaccines and common questions and concerns. Right, reinfections don't surprise me. Cellular responsivity. People still getting infected but not having severe or being asymptomatic. Cellular responsivity. Older population might have less, you know, it might deteriorate faster. No surprise. Deterioration of vaccine strength for anybody, again, no surprise. Resistance to vaccine, again, I see this as, right, you'll have someone drink a bunch of alcohol, you get extreme binging for a while, and then they'll stop, and then they'll go dump that mentality into something else. But that's kind of like, and then you say get a vaccine, that type of person's going to say, you know, freedom of choice, and again, no, it is not a choice to be in a species where you can't control individual sentiment. That's really all for vaccines. But that's what I thought about exercise, nutrition, and supplementation, and why most things are biologically neutral, and I hope you eat well, and I hope you shit well. Thanks for watching part 51.